On today's tutorial, you'll be learning how to cut and sew this stylish, beautiful butterfly boo that you're seeing on the screen. This butterfly gown is so beautiful and I like the finished look on my body. It has a slit at the back and also a zipper. Please make sure you watch to the end and don't skip any part because I'll be showing you how you can neatly sew this dress in case you are making it for your client. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you find my tutorial helpful. Okay, these are the fabrics that I'll be using for the sake of this tutorial. For the red fabric, I used 2 years, and for this one, I used 3.5 years. I'll be cutting the back part first because it will serve as the guideline to cut the front part. So the width of this ankara is 45. To cut the length of your fabric, you measure it from here, from this side that has factory marking. So I'll go ahead and cut out the length that I want, and I'll come back and show you the next thing that you do. So I'm going ahead to cut out my length. I used the length of 58 inches. I added 1.5 inches for folding allowance. So I will go ahead and fold it this way, the way you see me doing. After folding my fabric into two, the next thing now is to mark out my 2 inches zipper allowance. This butterfly gown has a zipper at the back. So after marking out your 2 inches, you fold it in the way you see me doing. So I will use my iron to iron it down so that I can get the line there. You can as well notch your zipper allowance, but for me I iron it down this way. Can you see that? So after that, I will measure my shoulder width. My shoulder width is 16 inches. I will divide it by 2. I have 8 inches. So from this line now, you determine the length of your sleeve. For me, I use 10 inches. So I'll add 1 inch for folding. So I'll mark it. So I will measure the total of what I have here. The total of what I have here now is 19 inches. Please take note of that because we'll be using it to cut the front part. Alright, so the next thing I'll do now is to mark my neck width, which is 3.5 inches, and the neck depth for the back I use 1.5. So I'll curve my neckline the way you see me doing. After curving my neckline, I will come down by 1.5 inches from this side, and I will slant my shoulder line, slant it the way you see me doing. After that, I'll go ahead now and cut it out. After cutting out the neckline and the shoulder slant, I will now measure 19 inches down so that I can get a straight line. I want it to be equal, so I will rule it straight down, and I've already cut it out. So this is my back part. I will unfold my zipper allowance so that I can remove the zipper bulge. To do that, I will measure from my shoulder to my half length, which is 17.5 inches. I'll rule it. So on the waistline here, I'll come in by 0.75. After that, I will slant it the way you see me doing. This is to eliminate the excess zipper bulge at the back, so that if you fix your zipper, it will relax very well. So I'll cut it out the way you see me doing. After that, I'll now slash it open. This is what you have when you are done cutting it. So I've gone ahead to cut out the facing that I'll be using to turn the back part. I didn't know my camera was not recording when I was cutting it out. So the width is 8 inches, which is half of my shoulder width. I added extra 2 inches for folding and for sewing allowance. The length of the facing is the length of my boo gown. So I'll place the back part on it. After placing it on it, the next thing now is to notch my zipper allowance on the facing. You notch it. So the next thing now is to trim the back part, and I will also be adding my slit on the facing. That's why I place it together. So you follow what I'm doing. So I will go ahead now and trim the excess out on the facing. I'm cutting on the facing, not on my main fabric. So I will slash it open. If I get to the waistline, I will give it the shape of the zipper bulge that I removed. Can you see what I have? So I've trimmed it out. So after that, I'll be adding my slit here. So to do that, I will measure from my shoulder to my knee line. You measure to where you want your slit to start. For me, I use 36 inches, or you can as well measure from your waistline to where you want it to stop. Here I mark 19 inches for that. After that, I will come in by 1.5. We use 2 inches for zipper allowance, so I will come in by 1.5. The remaining half inch is what I will use to sew the slit opening. So I will cut it out now. I'm gonna have to cut it out. Can you see? This is where my slit will start. So when you're sewing, you learn more. So the next thing now is to cut the center front, the design on the front. I've already cut out the length that I want, so I will fold it into two. The length is the length of my gown, which is 58 inches. I added 1.5 inches for folding allowance. You pay very close attention on this part because I'm going to be showing you how you can get the middle part accurately. Alright, so make sure you fix your eyes on the screen so that you won't miss out. So after folding it into two, I will start by marking out my vertical measurement. So from my shoulder to my chest line is 9 inches. From my shoulder to my waistline is 17.5 inches. This is from my shoulder to my chest line. From my shoulder to my waist, from my shoulder to my hip line is 27 inches. From my shoulder to my knee line is 35 inches, and the full length is 58 plus 1.5 inches for hemming allowance. So I will mark it. After that, the next thing I'll be doing now is to mark my shoulder width. Half of my shoulder width is 8 inches. I'll be adding half inch for joining allowance. On my chest line, I'll be marking quarter of my round bust measurement, but before that, I'll be removing 8 inches from my actual bust measurement. My bust is 41. If I remove 8 inches, I have 33. So the 33, I'll divide it by 4. I'll mark it and I'll add half inch. After that, I will connect it. My round waist is 38. If I deduct 8 inches, I have 30. So I will divide the 30 inches by 4. I have 7.5. I'll mark it. I'll also add half inch for joining. I will also repeat the same thing on my hip line. My hip is 48. I'll deduct 8 inches. I have 40. Divide it by 4 and add half inch. So to mark my round knee, I will measure what I have on my hip line. If I measure it, I have 11.5. So to shape the knee area, I'll be deducting 1.5 inches from what I have on my hip line. So I have 10. I'll place 10 on my knee line. So I'll connect it. After connecting it, I'll roll it straight down to the hem. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so after rolling it straight, I'll now connect it from my chest, from the waistline to the chest line. From the waistline, I will now connect it to the hip. So you can as well remove 10 inches if you don't want your own to be wide like mine. I remove 8 inches from all my round body measurements. You can remove 10 inches if you don't want yours to be bold like mine. I think the original creator of this dress removed 10 inches. So I'll go ahead now and cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll be marking my neck width. I use the neck width of 3.5 inches, and for the neck depth I use 7.5 inches. I will now connect the V neckline. It's slanted, it's not curved. Alright, so I'll cut it out. After cutting it out, the next thing now is to cut the one that will serve as the butterfly, and I will be using the other fabric to complete it. So to do that, I'll be using the back part to get the measurement. So this is my back part. I'll fold in my zipper allowance. You fold it in. So after folding it in, I will place the center front on it. Can you see how I place it? The shoulder line for the back and center front is matching. Can you see that? So to get the quantity of fabric that will be enough for the side, you'll be working with your waist measurement, because if you look at the fabric, is the biggest. The shoulder part is not that big. It's only the waistline that went inside, so that's where you will take your measurement. If I measure it, I have about 10 inches. So I will confirm it again. This is 10 inches. So to cut it out, I'll be adding 2 inches because of folding, and I will be doing some trimmings also. So you add 2 inches to whatever measurement you got. So I'll go ahead now and cut it out. I've already cut it out. Can you see? I'll measure it again for you to see. I have 12 inches. That's 10 inches plus extra 2 inches. Please note that I measured the 12 inches to the down part. So I will go ahead now and remove the back part. After removing the back part, I will place the side front the way you see me doing. You place it making sure that the center front is resting on it the way you see me doing. I have about 1 inch here. I'll measure it for you to confirm. I also have about 1 inch on this part. You can use your pin to hold it. Just pin it down here so that it won't be moving around. So this is my 1 inch here. You can as well make it ½ inch. After that, I will now measure the width of the back part, which is 19 inches. If you can remember, we use total of 19 inches for the width of the back. That's how wide I want the butterfly to be. So you place it here. So you also add ½ inch that you'll be using to join it. You add extra ½ inch, so the remaining you can cut it out. So I'll be doing that later. So this 19 inch, you also measure it on your waistline. Just measure it straight down so that you can get a straight line. Also add your ½ inch for joining. After that, I'll go ahead and trace it out the way you see me doing. Just cut it through here. I'm done cutting it out. I will notch the upper part to indicate. Notch it so that when you want to join it, you won't find it difficult to locate. So I'll just remove this excess here now. Can you see what I have here? Please note that I have not cut the excess fabric that is remaining on the side. So I'll place my measurement there. I have 19.5. So if I close it with the ½ inch, it will go back to 19. So I've gone ahead to trim it out. This is what I have now. I want to be adding my shoulder slant. So you place it together like this. You now measure 1.5 inches for your front shoulder slant. You connect it to your shoulder the way you see me doing. After that, I will trim it out. After cutting it out, I will make another notch. This is because I've already cut out the one I notched before. So this is what you're supposed to have when you are done cutting it out. So the next thing I did is to cut out the lining that I'll be using to turn the center front. This is optional. You can decide to leave it like that, but I want my dress to stand out. So I also iron my soft gum stay on it. Alright. So after ironing it, I will arrange the center front and the lining together. I want to reduce the lining by 1 inch. This is because I'll be turning the hem of the center front. So I'll measure my 1 inch and I will cut it out. After cutting it out, the next thing now is to start sewing. So I will place the center front and the lining right side to right side. I'll sew the neckline and I will sew the hem. I'll do it and come back and show you. So this is what I have when I was done. I've sewn my neckline with ½ inch. I will notch the middle of the neckline so that when I turn it, it will relax very well. So when I was sewing it, I used my gum to sew the neckline so that if I iron it, it will relax. I've also sewn the down part with 1/2 inch, so I will turn it out from the side now the way you see me doing. So after turning it, I will arrange it properly. Can you see what I have? So I will now use my iron to press it down. Also iron the down part. After ironing it, you stitch down the side. Can you see the down part of the center front is folding? This is because I reduced it by 1 inch. I've gone ahead to stitch it down by the side. Can you see? You won't see any stitches on the down part of the center front. If you check the picture on the thumbnail, you will notice that. So this is the side. I will take one side front and I will match it together. Make sure you work with your pin it down. So this is the down part. I've not folded the hem of this one, so I'll go ahead and fold it with 1.5 inches that I added. After folding it, it will be equal now. Can you see I folded it? So I will now take the one that will go this side. I will start my pinning. Make sure you work with your pin it down so that everything will be equal. After pinning it down, it will be equal. Can you see mine is equal? So you do that also. So after pinning this side, I will also pin the other side. You pin it down before going to your sewing machine to sew. Please, if you're seeing my video for the first time and you find my video helpful, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell for more interesting videos. As you do that, may God bless you. So after pinning this side, I'll go and sew with 1/2 inch. I will do it and come back and show you. I've gone ahead to sew it. Can you see what I have? So I will remove my pins now. You open press it and iron it very well. After ironing it, I will be weaving it later. Can you see it's looking neat and equal? Make sure you iron properly. Iron on the wrong and on the right side. The next thing now is to work on the back part. I've gone ahead to iron my interface on the facing for the back. Can you see that? So before I sew it, I'll go ahead and fold the edges. I'll do that and come back and show you. So I've gone ahead to fold it. Can you see that? After placing the facing right side facing the fabric, you pin it on this part where your slit started. You hold it there first. You now arrange it very well. After that, you check whether it's equal. I've also folded the hem of the facing. After arranging it, I'll also pin down the neckline. I will sew with 1/2 inch the neckline, the side. If I get to the slit opener, I will sew it this way. I'll also repeat the same thing on the other side. I've done it already. Can you see what I have? When you get to where your slit opening started, you sew the 2 corners. So you notch it here so that when you turn it to the right side, it will relax very well. You also notch the neckline. After notching it down, I will remove my pins and I will turn it to the right side. Just push everything out. Make sure you iron this joining very well. Iron it. Ironing it very well will give you a neat work. Make sure you bring everything out before ironing. So when you get to where your slit opening started, you bring it out. You can use your scissors to push it out. Can you see what I have? It's coming out already. So I will iron it now. So I've also done the same thing for the other side of the back. So I will use my hemming gum now to put under the facing so that it can stick together with the fabric. You just insert like 4 or 5 and give it a good ironing. Can you see it has stick together and it's looking very neat? So I've done the same thing for this other side of the back. Can you see that? So I'll place the 2 together the way you see me doing. After arranging it, the next thing now is to attach my zipper. I still have my line where I iron my zipper allowance down, so I'll pin it together there. That's why it's good to iron it down to get the line, so when you want to attach your zip you won't find it difficult. So after turning the facing with my main fabric, I have 1.5 inches left for my zipper allowance. I also measure 1.5 inches on this part to close it. The next thing is to determine where your zipper will stop. So from the shoulder line, I will measure down 17.5, which is my waistline. So from there, I will now measure down 9 to 10 inches. That's where my zipper will stop. So after getting where my zipper will stop, I will mark it. I'll mark it to indicate. So I will close the remaining parts. I have my zipper here. I believe most of us here can attach a zipper. So I'll go off camera now and fix my zipper, and I will come back and show you the next thing that you would do. Alright, so I've gone ahead to fix my zipper. Can you see that? This is how you're supposed to be looking like when you are done fixing your zipper. So I will turn it to the wrong side now for you to see the slit opening. When you are making it for your client, you make sure you follow my process to achieve a neat finishing. All right, so I have my front part here. I've gone ahead to weave this side that I joined. Can you see? I went to my interlocking machine and weave it down. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to place the front and back right side facing the right side. I will join the shoulder together. You can use your pin to secure it. Can you see that my front and my back is matching? I don't have any excess. So after pinning it down, I will go to my sewing machine now and sew the shoulder with 1/2 inch. So I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm done sewing it and I've gone ahead to weave it. You weave the shoulder and also fold the side. You fold it. Can you see what I have? So the next thing now is to turn it to the right side so that I can shape it. This is the last step. So after turning it to the right side, I will arrange it very well and I will fold it into 2. Make sure it's matching. Fold it. You can use your pin to hold it. Please note that when you want to shape your butterfly boo, you will mark on the right side. So from the shoulder now, I will measure my nipple point measurement, which is 10.5 inches. I will mark it. This is from my shoulder to nipple point, not chest line. So from my shoulder to my waistline is 17.5. From my shoulder to my hip line is 27 inches. From my shoulder to my knee line is 35 inches. As you can see, I use chalk that is not too visible so that it will not stain my fabric. On my bust point line, I will be placing 1/4 of my round bust measurement. You divide your bust by 4 and you mark it. On my waistline, I will divide my round waist by 4. I will mark it, so I will connect it. I will do the same thing on my hip. I will connect all my lines. So on my knee line, I will be deducting 1.5 inches from what I mark on my hip line and I will place it. This is to shape my knee area very well. So that's what you will do. So from my knee line now, I will rule it straight down the way you see me doing. After that, I will turn it to this side also and repeat the same thing I did on the other side. You get your shoulder to bust point, shoulder to waistline, shoulder to hip and shoulder to knee, and you mark 1/4 of all your round body measurements. So I will spread it out now for you to see. This is the shape that you will have. Can you see the shape of my round body measurement? Let me just arrange it now for you to see it very well. My chalk is not visible. Please note that I did not add any ease allowance. I marked exactly 1/4 of my round body measurement. This is the lines that I marked. So I will start sewing from here. You can confirm the measurement before you start stitching So I'll go to my sewing machine now and follow the line and stitch. You can pin it down to secure it before you start sewing. Alright, so make sure you subscribe to my channel if you find my video helpful. Thank you. So I've done sewing it. I will iron it very well, iron the gown very well. This is the end of this tutorial. Make sure you like and share my video. Thanks for watching. Bye.